Hello, everyone! Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's TRI's Trip Top 100 Crypto Review. Crypto Countdown. Top 100 Countdown. Crypto. As Nick says, learning a little TA, talking crypto, having some fun. Welcome back to the Frivolity. This is episode 39. We've actually been doing this over a full year now, week in, week out. I'm one of these crazy nuts. By the way, my name is Brian Beamish, if you don't know, but actually not very many people watch this. It is a public video, but not really that many people watch this, so I don't think I need to worry about introductions. But anyway, have a lot of fun here. Some site members about a year or so ago asked them if they'd like to come in and talk crypto. We used to do a show, in fact, on the TRI library. It's remarkable how time has gone by, and now these are actually old memories, but if you want to, we used to do videos of Bitcoin, literally going back almost 10 years now. We had this, the Bitcoin and altcoin trading talk. Hey, there's Brian and good old Alex Stirk. I haven't seen him in a while. And Will and Rob from the Coinigy days. Geez, there's my old digs. I don't even know whether you guys even remember that. Yeah, that's where we started off this adventure so long ago. Anyway, welcome back. Actually, I've had the privilege to work with, like I said, a couple site members over the past year or so doing these weekly shows. A great opportunity to get to know the people on the site. Also encourage them to write exams and complete their education. It works with some people, not with others. And big congratulations to Nick. I know Derek's not going to like this at all. Literally the last day of class, Nick's like, I'm ready to write the exam. Let's get this done. Let's do this. And he scored a 97%. Very good, Nick. Congratulations on his level 3. So, badass motherfucker, site veteran now. So I'm so proud of him. Way to go, Nick. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, and nice segue into introduction. Oh, by the way, Nick is one of our co-hosts here tonight. I'm sure you're all familiar with him. Actually, here tonight we have Nick and we have Ben. Hey, Ben, how's it going? Whoop, he's in the middle of taking a sip.
Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, got my coffee.
There he
ready
is.
to go.
There he is. Awesome. So the gentlemen are here to help me out, help talk crypto a bit with you guys. I get the impression that the rapid fire, try not to talk so much, Brian, let's just get through as many names as possible, kind of approach we've been taking over the past few weeks seems to be pretty popular. And also, too, I get the impression people did like sort of that ability to interact with us last week. And Ben and I just took a whole bunch of requests from the audience. Speaking of which, let's see how they're doing over there. Hello, audience. Snowboarding JJ. I think actually, yeah, Snowboarding JJ was in your class, wasn't he, Nick? So,
Yep.
Good luck, Snowboarding JJ. Somebody points out there, we survived that April Celestial event. And, I don't know whether I want to take time to talk about that kind of thing tonight, but what I did notice was, and I've been talking about this with the site people, I wonder if the Celestial event actually is like sort of the middle of this kind of like, this is called a billiard ball fractal. It's supposed to be the randomness of the universe, and random actually is pretty predictable. And I wonder, it just feels like, especially with what happened there in Eastern Europe and the sort of toning down into that April 4th event, and then coming out the other side, if I understand correctly, who is really blitzing like Eastern Ukraine now. So I wonder if he's going to get ready for like a month or so of just shit on the other side. And I wonder whether that April 4th was like some sort of, almost like a midpoint pivot out of this massive sort of war fractal, if you will. I don't know, call me crazy. So interesting comment there, and Nitsky. I'm not quite sure how to interpret this. I will say, no doubt about it. If you had asked anybody in Europe probably like 10 years ago, oh, what's the propensity for a big fat war in Europe? And people would have been like, what? Hey, isn't that last century shit? And they really wouldn't have. I don't think anybody was expecting the amount of bloodshed and violence and stuff in Eastern Europe. Anyway, it's here. It is now. This is our reality. Interesting, if you listen to the Vedic astrologers, they actually think the really big war comes in 2030. And this is almost like, ironically enough, I heard one guy make the comparison, and I kind of like this comparison, that Russia and Mr. Putin are a lot like Mussolini and Italy, and Mussolini's adventure into Ethiopia in the 1920s, 1930s. Anyway, as a prelude, and then of course the Spanish Civil War. There's probably a lot of parallels with that in Ukraine, as all sort of lead up to the big show in the 1940s. Sure feels like everything is repeating itself. It's quite shocking, really. I would, honestly, if somebody, like I said, somebody had asked 10, 20 years ago, what's the odds of all this, us going back into war? I think people would have been like, nah, I don't think so. So, the more things change, the more they stay exactly the same, it seems. As for the corn, actually, I've been putting out a few tweets here that obviously haven't been, the most warmest of receptions, and it's understandable because unfortunately they are sort of, oh boy, ugly-looking tweets, for lack of a better word. We've spent, ironically enough, actually, I showed you a picture of Alex Sturck there. And in 2017-18, I remember meeting with him through the insanity of that 2017. And he's saying, we need a developer cycle. And 2018, 2019, 2020, I think was, first half of 2020 was your sort of developer cycle. And then we went into bull mode. And I think that this sort of the end result, the back end result of all that developer cycle was your DeFi wonderfulness that you guys are all excited about these days. It's kind of funny how Alex, if you're out there, it seems that Ubiq forgot that it was part of this market and it hasn't done anything this entire cycle. So that's, I was just showing you, actually, I guess it's gone now. Anyway, the guy that I was doing the videos with back on the Coinigy days, what did I do that? And actually, it's surprising. These are very popular videos. Like, look at, the number of hits on this video is quite startling. Where are we? 121,000 views. Oh, yeah, go figure. Anyway, that was back when we were the rationalinvestor.co. I've had a lot of people come to the site actually saying, hey, this is where I started on these videos. Anyway, now I'm getting all scatterbrained. Sorry, everybody. Okay, let's try and focus here. We're supposed to be talking crypto. We've got Ben's app. Ben's been saying that he's been updating the app as we go along. Is that correct, Ben? Oh, I caught you sleeping.
Yes, that's correct.
Wakey.
Yeah, that's correct. We've been doing some rapid fire ones over the last few weeks, and that's right in the middle. So
yeah, okay. So point being that this is a cute little app you can throw on your cell phone, I guess. Don't really want to be giving out the actual spreadsheet itself, so I really like the fact that Ben did this. It's kind of a cool juxtaposition of all the work that we've done here tonight. So be sure to check that out. Grab that screenshot. You can just throw it on your cell phone real easy. Also, too, I just like to mention it because why the hell are we doing this? I'm a big sort of PMA kind of guy, and I like to try and make a positive difference in this world, all that wonderfulness. So this is, I don't really have a hell of a lot to give back in this world. This is the kind of stuff that I can give back. I've been doing this silly stock market game for 30 years. So if you can glean any information out of all my rants here tonight, just try and help you make better decisions down the road, then it's a win-win. And as always, what we've sort of suggested all along here is, so if you do find some value in the broadcast, we're trying to put together a booth in Decentraland. These things cost money. And literally, we've been running this wallet, and I don't even know what the situation is here. Has anybody actually even donated to this? Maybe I should look at this elsewhere. Oh, turns out nobody has. But if you do get any value out of this broadcast and you feel like helping us out, that's the whole point of what we're trying to do is build that Decentraland plot, man. Probably if the market goes into the tanker like I'm expecting 2022, 2023, maybe we can maybe go and actually buy a plot in the not too distant future with whatever's been accumulated there. So that's a big objective of this whole sort of weekly thing. I will say though that I actually think that the best thing that comes out of this is, number one, I get to know some of the site members. And actually, we're going to do, I guess, a bit of a rotation here with some of the guests. So open invitation to any current level 1ers, level 2ers. If you happen to be on the site and you like crypto and you can talk crypto and you'd like to talk crypto and you can commit to these Wednesday evenings. It's like 9 o'clock on the East Coast, so it's in the evening. 6 o'clock on the West Coast here. Maybe if we get a few people out of Europe, maybe we do it a different time. But let me know. Nick is getting ready to get settled into his new digs in Minnesota. I think he's going to be heading off into the sunset here relatively soon. And Derek already told us, to hell with you, Brian. I've had enough of your nonsense. No, I don't think he said that. But write your damn exam, Derek. And everybody on this site's like, okay, I think you beat that horse into the ground, Brian. Why don't you just leave that alone now?
I think I need to go give Derek a hug.
Yeah. Or just go down. I mean, Minnesota and Maryland, they start with the same
Ben's
letter.
Probably closer. Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah, Ben can pop up, and maybe Ben's in level 1, so I don't know whether he's going to help too much with options. Actually, how did you find the options material? Did you find it digestible, Nick?
Oh yeah. The first week. So we do options for 4 weeks in level 3.
Yeah.
And I think the first week I didn't fully grasp all the delta or all the Greeks and some of the terminology, but just the repetition we do and stuff by the secondary week or so, I had it down pretty good.
Good. Yeah, and the house scenario. Who was it? Wasn't it? Were you my volunteer this term? I'm turning the school program over to the site people. So actually, Zach's now the level 3 instructor. But wasn't it you who was the person at the kitchen table with me doing a real estate deal?
It was.
Yeah, so there you go. Gotta say, Nick, I can definitely see you put the time and effort into the education program. I definitely think you got your money's worth.
I mean, you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
So.
And even just talking to you and conversing with you, you now you sound like a professional in the marketplace. I was even quoting Nick earlier today. One of these shows recently, he said, you know what, I think I'm going to come back and invest hard in crypto when it gets back into easy mode. Right now it's in difficult mode. And frankly speaking, that's not a bad observation. So I don't know, you want to add anything to that now?
No, I mean, that's still kind of where I'm sitting. I did buy a little bit a few weeks ago when stuff was rallying just for some short-term trades. But I will just add a plug. If anyone is interested, I feel like I have gotten so much out of this experience, being able to sit with you once a week, Brian, and watch you draw up literally hundreds of charts over the last year from scratch, and being able to live ask you questions. Why are you doing that? Why are you thinking about things this way? What about this? And I think it's just added to my education a lot. So if anyone is interested in, getting one-on-one time with the boss at TRI, that sounds pretty good to me. So
yeah, well, opportunity handed you an opportunity, and you took advantage of it, man, which is awesome. And I always tell everybody on the site, you're gonna get out of this what you put into it. So the fact that you gave, an hour of your week every single week, and like you said, you it sounds to me like you mined the old man. So awesome. Reap the rewards. And the funny thing is I just blab away and I don't even know whether I'm actually saying anything of value to you guys. And at the end of it, you're all like, oh yeah, that was awesome. I go, okay, well, let's do it again next week. So what is interesting is after probably about a year or two, I do notice people go, okay, now I know all your shit. Okay, I've heard the stories 3 or 4 times now. Okay, so I get it. Okay, I've had enough of you, Beamish. I'm ready to move on. And that's fine. I understand. And in a weird sort of way, building one of these school kind of environments, it's remarkable to see. It must be really tough on people who are in the education business for decades to just constantly see the revolving door. It is the way that it is. I never even realized the psychological. In a weird sort of way, I actually consider a lot of you like my children, and watching you grow up and get better. And some of them, some of the kids growing up, and man, they've become incredibly influential people in the background that you never hear of, and they would prefer I don't talk about them, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's beautiful to watch you all grow up and flourish in your own way. In fact, I used to say that what I was I was a gardener, and this beautiful little little vegetable patch, and each and every one of you, you're all unique and individual in your own way. And it's really cool to watch you all sort of go through your growing process, teach you sort of the basics. Just to begin with, most people don't understand the concept of working with a trading plan and holding yourself to account to your behavior and all that kind of stuff. But just watching you all individually blossom into the, very unique flowers that you all are, plants that you are, and the different ways and directions that you go. It's actually quite a treat. So thank you, gentlemen. And even, tonight, Nick and Ben, both very unique individuals, and it's been a real pleasure watching you two both grow. So thank you.
I mean, I am definitely not going anywhere. I'm just...
No, dude, you're gone. You're out of here.
You can't get rid of me yet. I mean, I might not be doing the crypto show, but who knows? I might be around in other ways, hopefully.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Is TRI itself is growing like a weed. So who knows what the hell capacity. You might be an instructor around here pretty soon. Who knows? Anyway, okay, let's get on to talk a little crypto here. Enough of the sentimentality and all that. We got work to do. One thing I will mention, and before we get into it in too much detail, I used to, when I was a commodities broker, I used to run this service. I used to call it a weekly commodity trend service. And it would just simply highlight days and weeks of trends, and then relative position of assets given whether they're above the mean or below the mean, and moving average relationships. And it's a really simple way to look at the world. And it just strictly from is the asset overvalued, is the asset undervalued relative to the cycles. And one thing, one site gentleman is taking this concept to the next level because he's incorporated fundamental analysis. And no, I can't give you this website. You have to come on the site, be a part of the site. You have to message John himself, and he has disclaimers and shit. He's not here selling you a product. In fact, he gives this away on the site for free, which is totally fine. And then that way he doesn't get tracked for reselling data and all that shit because he's just scraping it. We are going to try and replicate this with the data that we actually pay for, so we can sort of market it and say this is where you sign up for this. But for now, John's just put this cute little WordPress page together. It's very solid. And the only reason why I'm mentioning this is, as you can see, he does have a category crypto here. And I'm just watching slowly, day by day, more and more crypto names are falling down against the bottom ends of their ranges. A 6 would be sort of we're at the bottom end of the range. Price is starting to stabilize, and it's actually starting to rise, and we get things like moving average crosses. So no 6s yet in crypto, but pretty big list of 5s. Now, this is measured in weeks, these weekly trends. So, if it takes 2 months, that's 8 weeks. That's not really very long in this kind of framework. But it is encouraging to see that a lot of the shit coins and, DeFi and whatever you want to call it, they're starting to get down at the bottom ends of ranges where, if you do something as simple as Nanny Nibbles, planting flowers, little old ladies, whatever you want to call them, those kind of strategies and those plans, there are names that are viable. In fact, actually, I even bought a little bit of this XEM the other day because what the hell? I mean, you can see it's down at the bottom end of range. And, if I just go and Nanny Nibble here, at some point we'll probably get some sort of counter trend rally back up into these areas and I should be able to get doubles off. I'm not really planning on doing anything anytime soon, but definitely nibbleable, if that's a word. And the number of assets that I can't buy is actually pretty small. Right now we've got, there's one of these sort of USD sort of stable coin proxies, so we don't really worry about that. But for example, this NEAR, I'm not allowed to touch something like that. It's just too expensive. You guys have been working with me long enough, I'm a cheap ass. I like to buy at the bottom ends of ranges and stuff. So I can't really touch something like that. And interestingly enough, good old Luna. I've got my next sell half on a double order here just above 120. I can't buy that. Can't even think about buying that. Can't touch it. But it's interesting how I'm trying to get some off up top here. I'm having a damn difficult time getting filled. So, the number of assets in crypto land that look like this, that you're just not allowed to buy and you have to wait for this thing to calm down and clean itself up, that list is pretty small. And the list of assets that are, hey, these things, they're at the bottom ends of ranges. They're slowly sort of saucering out. They haven't spat out actual outright buy signals, i.e. 6s, but a big list of names are things are getting cheap. So I do like that. And I just wanted to mention that to you. What I do plan to do, and something like this we should be able to do really easily. The tough ones are going to be things like VCIM, CanSlam, WDV, and GARP. But the large caps, exchange trade funds, commodities, crypto, we should be able to create a page on our little breadth dashboard here that will be the weekly commodity trend survey page, and it will basically be John's page just replicated on the site using TRI data. So we'll be looking forward to that. So that's a good overview sort of tool. Just give you an idea, what is it you can be shopping on. And it's interesting how everybody and their brother in the public is all rah bullish commodities, but I don't see any 5s or 6s here, which to me says that commodities are not a buy. And if anything, things like oil, we probably have to start thinking about when are they going to top out. I don't have any, like a 1 would be an outright sell signal. 2s would be sort of getting ready to sell, kind of like what you saw with that Luna and the NEAR. But I don't even have those, right? I just got a whole bunch of 3s and 4s, just middle of the road. You really shouldn't do anything. So it's kind of interesting how everybody in the public, of course, is rah bullish of commodities and, bearish of bonds and bullish of interest rates. And actually a really good example, I showed this to people earlier today. What would a commodity sell signal look like? Like a U.S. Treasury bonds, I think it was this one that we were looking at. There is a beautiful moving average cross with an M top. 50% level, I think, was down here, and it just went straight down to the 50% roll. But here, can you come in and short this here? Nah, you're way too late. And this is a bear. This is the 7 to 10 year. Same thing on the bull side. If we look at something like oil, Where the hell's the oil? It's on here somewhere. Metals, energies. All right, if we just look at the oil, I don't know whether this is gonna load up the TFC chart. Sorry about that. And I'm supposed to be talking crypto here, so I should try and get back on page. Where the hell was I? Where's the oil? Oh, I guess we're using USO here. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so you can see where the buy signal was way back there. And it's so funny. I tell all the people on the site, I was like publicly, oh no, oil's last cycle story. I don't want to buy this. I would really like to have a date with Greta, and she doesn't like it when I tell her about how bullish I am of oil. But damn, man. I mean, what are you here to do? Are you here to be politically correct and kiss Greta's ass? Or are you here to make money from trading? I can't answer that, unfortunately. My hunch is most of you are here to make money from trading, so that's why, if anything, it's a good thing to put your opinion away, and when the signals come in, you just obey the signals. So anyway. So the point I'm trying to make here is, 3s and 4s. In fact, even on the front page of this page, if you're a site member, ask John. We even have here, right? Like, where the hell is it? If it scores 3 or 4, it shows a meh, do nothing. So, and it's interesting. We have one little VCIMer, a little rolled back stock. It's I think it's a gold stock that's spitting out a buy signal, and nothing else in the market. Isn't that interesting? Nothing in the market is spitting out a buy signal right now. So I do find that fascinating. Got a couple potential sells, but no outright sell signals in the market either. We're in kind of like drifting mode. That's the way that I would describe this. And I suppose if we go and look at the corn, here is this is the futures market. I like to watch the futures market. We have a day trading room at TRI. And every morning we're hunting, lower time frame setups and all that. And you can see, the good part about it for Bitcoin is we do have some W's working. So that's encouraging. You can see all these double bottom breakout references. We just got a nasty double top breakdown there, though. And, well, you don't know. But very first off, the very first thing that we always want to look for whenever we seek a range like this is what's a 50% roll. So there's good old 50% roll. I would say the odds of Bitcoin trading back to 40,000 are extremely high. This would be the mean. When I showed you John's matrix, right? So that's the mean, the 50% roll. Markets love to oscillate back and forth around the mean. So in this particular case, looking at this price action, that's the mean. And interesting enough, John built this other script. This John guy, man, fucking killer programmer. I'm, in fact, actually in the level 3 course. And Nick, have you incorporated this into your thinking at all? I don't know whether you have or not. But we talk a little bit about using ATR with stop management in the level 3 course. And I give you a little mini sort of lecture on how to use ATR framing expectations. And actually, this is exactly how I would suggest you use it. So at any given point in time, this is probably the extent of which, keep in mind, this yellow line changes every new day. This is the average true range expressed from previous day's settlement. And this makes a lot of sense, because what this is basically saying is, you've heard me say wicks and tails like to be eaten, and there is the 50% roll. So support right now is down basically against these lows, and there's 50%. And resistance, lo and behold, there's actually a big old fat gap right on the price chart there. From yesterday's close, or I guess 2 days ago close, yesterday, which is done now, opened up with a gap lower, completely tanked. And the interesting thing is that yesterday's ATR was right there. Now I asked John, I don't know whether John's watching this or not, but I did ask him if we could put like trailing ATRs from the previous days. That would be really cool, but that might be a little bit much. Previous bar settlement price, number of bars to show previous ATR range. Oh, maybe this might be it. We do like, say, 3. What happens? Oh, what color? I think. Whoops, where did it go? Oh, darn. Now it's way down there. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here then. Show number of bars to show previous ATR range. Nah, it must be something different. Anyway, yesterday, the ATR actually was sitting right here and we banged into that level. And actually, I should have taken a screenshot because it was super cool. Anyway, totally off topic. The point here is that I think this is our trading range for the time being, and we're just swimming around in it. So if you're a trader, sort of day trader, all that kind of fun stuff, where would I be looking to buy Bitcoins? Well, good old reload zones. That's down here. Also, too, we have a nice low to high trend line. I think that's key support. We also have trend lines coming off of the bottom. I like, nice buy down in here. Also, too, this is super cool. This is a concept that basically the universe taught us through this whole COVID nonsense. Not totally unrelated to COVID, but I think it's the universe rewarding me for all my hard work. I don't know. I tell myself that on a daily basis. I hope I'm right. But if we look at this price action in the double top, we can actually start drawing chaos theory levels off of this bearish resolution, and the initial target is 2.618, and notice how that lines right up against Mountain Man. And that's, you've heard me say before, wicks and tails like to be eaten, candle body lows for trade location. So I like the idea of us actually having trade back down to about 37 to 38,000 in there. So, be forewarned, everybody. Also, too, and this is just an excellent testament to the hard work that TRIers have put in here. Sjord, our CTO, has been able, 30 years ago, actually, Jesus, is it that long ago? Well, let's say 20 years ago. I used to run a website, and I taught myself how to code PHP and MySQL and all of that. And it's funny when Sjord ever looks at my code, he always laughs at me, but 1980s website. But he's been able to take that concept of measuring market breadth, which is a concept that nobody talks about in the market these days. Except for, if you tune in to CNBC and every once in a while you hear like a market technician or like Luis Yamada come on, or Ralph Acampora or somebody like that, and they'll talk breadth, but, usually it just goes right over everybody's head. But I've been able to get this tool up and running for the broader stock market, working very, very well. And I mean, we all know what M's mean. And it was funny because I even, this works even better. And now it seems that crypto. About a month or two ago, I was kind of like, well, this thing can't go below zero. That's the end of it. And then, boom, up she goes. And I said, this thing can't go much above 100. And, down we go. So you can see and what I also like, too, is that I've noticed this, and it makes a lot of sense to me, because I think that whatever that is the highest growth vehicle in the society, that will be the ultimate leader. So, all through the 1980s and 1990s, if I was looking at the stock market and I wanted to sort of, what is the thing that's pushing the market the hardest, it was always the semiconductors. Semiconductors always were the leaders. In fact, we called the semiconductors the ultimate leading indicator in the market. So it doesn't surprise me that, 10 years into this adventure, and what we're finding is that crypto is actually a really, really good leading indicator. So you can see how crypto back at the end of March, and actually even heading into the middle of March, was flashing these sort of topping signals And you notice that things like the boring old Dow Industrials, well, it just flashed those topping signals right at the end of March. So this is like the old legacy dinosaur that you're sort of dragging along behind the economy. And crypto is actually leading the economy. So I thought that's an interesting observation that I've noticed here out of crypto of late. Anyway, look at it, folks. That's not an overly bullish image. It's kind of the exact opposite. I remember talking to the guys, and even I used to do like a quick little public video every day, but I just got too exhausted doing the free videos all the time. But Kevin and I used to do this video, and I even remember saying to you guys, can you force yourself, and there's the signal, back on March 17th, 18th, can you force yourself to step up and buy that W? And if you can, there's the end result. But, Jesus, there's a big fat M. And actually, Nick was saying, that's one good thing about working with me is hopefully I'm consistent. What do you think, Ben? What do you think, Nick? Am I a relatively consistent person?
Yeah.
Be honest. I don't know. I'm asking you a question.
I'm laughing because, yes, you are 100%.
Okay, good.
It's the same message every day, in and out.
Okay, good. Because this shit works. You might as well just do what works and do less of what doesn't work. So, if it works, then be consistent. Anyway, so I just, anybody who's watching the YouTube video and doesn't know me from Adam, you don't know if I'm consistent or not. So thank you for referring to reaffirming that I try to be as consistent as possible. Anyway, point being that pretty good-looking buy signal coming out of there mid-March. Now, this is the hardest part about trading and making money from trading. It's one thing to see this and watch these videos and, hey, that's that crazy Beamish guy. Oh, man, it looks like crypto's a buy and all that. It's quite another to actually do it. Oh, I like that. Josh is now laying down the law. I like that rule. John's website only available to those who pass the level 3 exam. That's perfect. So Nick, you get access. Ben, sorry pal. I like that. Maybe we can convince Derek to write the exam now. I'm just kidding. Poor old Derek. I'm just terrible. I should shut the hell up. Okay. Anyway, so the point here is, the only way you're going to actually pull the trigger on this is you have to have the plan in place and you have to be ready, waiting, and able. And okay, here comes all the shit. W's on other sides of trendline breaks. Buying at the bottom end of ranges, looking for 50% retracements. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if this thing even got back to 50% roll. There's Mountain Man way up there. Did we get 50%? Oh, look at that. Fuck me. That's crazy. Damn. I mean, this is why you have to be consistent. Because if you did not have your order working here, sorry, pal, you were just left behind. I mean, god damn, that's crazy when you see that stuff. I did not plan that to happen, folks. Just that's the way this shit works. So anyway, coming down the other side and kind of, again, what the point I wanted to make just showing you all this was that was the push up here. And, the shit coins, that was the push up here. We don't look like that now, do we? In fact, even on the medium term, it's interesting how shit coins never did get really too overbought. But the top 30, oh boy, that is very, very overbought. Basically what this is saying is that every single name in the crypto top 30 is pointing up on a medium-term basis. And you just can't have everybody pointing up because that means everybody is bought, and who the hell's going to buy more? And then if you get any sort of short-term weakness, all the people that did buy, they're going to go, oh shit, I better start taking profits. And that's kind of like this image. Oh, here comes an M. Well, I better start taking profit. Short-term sell signal, and then it starts eroding, and the medium-term picture starts rolling over. And then we go through the whole bottoming process again. Short-term bottoms, then medium-term bottoms, and then, back and forth, back and forth. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that as a really good illustration of what this breadth indicator's information is really trying to tell you about the broader market. I mean, this is the rubber meeting the road. So, and unfortunately, it kind of sucks because an really good anecdote of the site. I got to say, and I actually spent a lot of time today talking about the site. In that, we have a blog now on the site, and the blog is, it should be just sort of like, actually, I don't know, do we have it in here? Maybe we have it in here. No. Gotta find a quick link that I have here. No. There it is, TRI blog. Okay, I gotta remember that that's there. So Josh has been duding up the blog recently, and I gotta tell you, man, this is free too. This is totally free. But this blog, I mean, so there is, and we've been talking to you about this since January, right? You guys remember this decennial report. I mean, that's basically our path for the year, and we're like right about here right now. Ugh, that's what we got to look forward to. Yuck. And remember, crypto's a leading indicator. So the stock market itself is just rolling over now. I think crypto's actually a little bit ahead of this curve now. So point of the matter here is come to the website and just, this stuff is gold. Like the Benner cycle, we all knew to start the year, and that's kind of why I think half of the reason why the site is sort of not as active as it is because I've been telling everybody, we're actually supposed to trough here sometime in the middle of 2023. That's like a year from now, folks. So, as I said, when we make that trough and we W out on the weekly basis, that's probably when Nick comes back because that's when we go into easy mode.
You know it.
So, anyway, I don't think there's a huge hurry. As we look through these cryptocurrencies, if anything, I think a lot of them are going to be basing out. I do like the idea, and seasonally in the summertime, there usually is a half decent rally. What I would just simply say, and the whole thing I'm trying to get to here, but it's taking me forever, is, on the crypto list, lots and lots of fives. These are all names that, if you know the fundamental story, that's absolutely critical in this game, people. Take the time and get to know the story of the coin or the developer team or whatever, the token that it is you're thinking about investing in. Get to know the story. And then that way you avoid investing in the Steven Seagal and Floyd Mayweather nonsenses. So do a little bit of fundamental research. That's always a good idea, and kick around the idea around TRI. We have a really great community, guys like Nick and Ben and stuff in the lounge. They're more than happy to help. But, we've got a list of names that are bumping along the bottom end of their ranges. It's just until this actually turns back up, there's not a huge hurry. And as I said, they're off of our blog. And like I said, this is free. Oh, where the hell did it go? Anyway. I don't know what to do with it. Anyway, the blog is free. You can just come and just read the blog. I mean, this is excellent. I mean, look at the work that Josh has put in this. This is crazy. And I can't believe we're giving this away for free. Something's not right about this. He talks to you about what kind of trader you are. Of course, we have, I always forget this guy's name. Duval? No.
Willem Dafoe.
Dafoe, that's right. Great. All right. Well, what do those risk takers look like? Look at the work that Josh, this is free. Hell, you go to university for this kind of education. Look at this spreadsheet that he's put together with the trading plan, position calculators, trading log, journal. I mean, the whole damn thing is in one pretty package. Put it all together. Look at this. He's even got a link for the damn template here. You can go and grab this yourself. I mean, damn, this is ridiculous. Josh is just giving it a... That's good. I mean, it's a great thing. I mean, it really is. I mean, so proud of you guys. Anyway, so the point here is that... let's see, we're right here. I don't think there's a huge hurry over the next month or two. All right, I'm just gonna say it. So don't ever. I mean, I showed you the Bitcoin chart, and what worries me about Bitcoin is people seem to have forgotten that Bitcoin. And actually, it's interesting. I drew this really cool trend line tonight, which unfortunately is a little bit bothersome, but nonetheless, it is what it is. If we actually draw a trend line off of this peak and this peak, notice how the market actually went up. Look how it tagged that and it backed off. So that obviously was respected there. Then we went zooming up and then bang, right back to that level again. Then zooming up, then boom, back down to that level, then up, and then lost it, and then more importantly, look now. Notice how we rallied back up and failed. And then notice, look at this 3-bar fractal. Ugh. I got a funny feeling that's our predominant trend line right now, which is a bit of an odd trend line. I bet you most people in the public can't really envision that as a valid trend line. But I got a funny feeling that's our trend line now. So, if this is a pretty big brick wall of resistance, and I think it's a big if, but if it is, what I'm worried about is last cycle, and I remember we went through this. Ironically enough, actually, the conversation is very similar. So 17 peak, and then notice we M'd out. And what's interesting is into sort of February, March, we had a panic low. This is when Bitcoin dads, you guys remember his name? He was the CFTC chairman at the time. I think his name is Garzelio or Garzelio or something like that. Anyway,
don't remember.
He stepped. He had a testimony in front of Congress or some House committee or something like that. And he was like, don't shit on crypto. Crypto's not so bad. It's all right. Giancarlo. Thank you, Ben. Good job. Thank you. Well said. And then what I noticed, and I went to Europe on sort of a continental tour through that event, sort of as a reward for guiding you guys through all this, I guess. And I went through Europe and I went on, many different places, and they all just sort of, everybody was like, all right, this is the base, and okay, that's fine. But notice that basically the fall, right, October, November, and this is always the cruelest time of year for Bitcoin, or, back in 2014, 13, 14, it's the most insane face-rippy time of the year. And I suppose here too, right, the end of the year, face rippy. I noticed that, oh, Jesus, the damn market lost 50% right here. 50%! Oh, my goodness. And this broke a lot of people's hearts in the crypto space. And all the people that I was talking to in Europe who were all gung-ho Bitcoin, when this happened, man, a lot of them just disappeared, which is so sad. But it is the market. And what I'm worried about here is I wonder whether they're setting the same trap. So we come down, we're up, and you can see what I've sort of drawn out here. I'm worried that, come October, November of this year, there's some big FU event coming down the pike. So, not really expecting the market to fall apart here. In fact, as you can see, we have one site OG, Colin. Very proud of him. He basically lived the capitalist dream. I'm very proud of Colin. He did everything right. Far better person than I will ever be. And he got rewarded. The universe really rewarded him well. So congratulations, Colin. Anyway, he understood one of these concepts, kind of like what Nick was saying. He just really liked just absorbing me. Absorbing me? I don't know. That doesn't sound right. Absorbing information from me. There even Nick says Colin is one of the reasons. Was Colin the person who
yeah,
referred
Colin
you?
referred me, and
cool.
he's referred a lot of other people too from over in the Hero Labs Discord.
He's such a sweetheart, and he's got such a good karma about him. It's just beautiful karma, really. Anyway, so he really likes this idea of if this is a bull, and really probably this was a really good example, that you don't really want to chase the market, which is exactly right. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. And you can see in here, 38.2 to 50% retracements. And even if we go off of that level, that's fine. If you load it up, you did pretty well. It worked. Could we be in that same sort of environment? I mean, it's an awfully pretty W, isn't it? So until this is broken, I'm going to simply say that that's our floor. And it's interesting how Mr. Novogratz, he came out about 4 or 5 months ago when we were dumping down here, and he was like, probably somewhere in the mid-30s or so we find some sort of floor and we start working our way back up. So it's interesting how Mr. Novogratz obviously must subscribe to that same Colin Pump Chaser newsletter. What I'm worried about here is this is actually a very typical, it's a stock market pattern that's actually designed to get you thinking bullish, but it's actually a trap. So unfortunately, at the very most, all I can look at this is as a trade, right? And that's going back to our sort of shitcoin indexes and these kind of things. That's what this was. It was a trade. But don't fall in love with this stuff. Just don't fall in love with it. You're going to get your ass handed to you. In fact, actually, David in our Stock Pickers Club meeting last night, he was like, don't buy these leveraged ETFs and hold on to them. Make your money and get the fuck out. Well, I might argue same thing with these like shitcoin perp indexes and stuff. Make your money, get the fuck out, get off to the sidelines. And honestly, I don't know what this. Keep in mind this shitcoin index actually went to a new low here. So technically, the trend, and of course you guys aren't going to like this, the trend is actually down, right there to there. And this is actually, to all intents and purposes, this is a megaphone. I don't know whether I would draw the megaphone from here, though. That might be the case. But you can see if this is the case and we come back down against this, though, third tag, right? So there's 1, 2. Usually these things tag a third time. What do I want to hear? Boom. Oh, come on, you. That's somewhere down there. And actually, I don't mind that. Actually, it's probably somewhere like over here, right around my birthday. Why would I say that? Somewhere right around the middle of May. And this is an interesting study. If you look at dog money, you guys remember how Bitcoin a few years ago, this peak here to this trough here was almost exactly 1 year, 52 weeks, almost like right to the nose. W.D. Gann loves that kind of stuff. He just loves that stuff. So,
well, and he also loves 6 months later taking that 50%.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the freaky thing, right? So we go about how long. So if we take this to 26 weeks. How long should it take for the market to retrace half of this distance? Should take just about half of whatever that time window was. And lo and behold, come on, you. Is that the top up there? Anyway, there's your 50% level. Took a little bit, well, actually, no, I guess that's about, well, looks like it took 1 week extra. So, isn't that funny how close that is? And this is extremely mathematical. It's almost shocking how consistent this is. In fact, like I showed you that funny little shitcoin index, right? I mean, a 50% level doink fall. I wonder if this took from this low here. I wonder if that doesn't look like half the time, though, does it? Anyway, we won't go down there today. Anyway, the point that I just wanted to make was, lo and behold, here comes Doge. And it's interesting, I was studying this one earlier, because what I noticed was Doge has a bit of a pattern here. It's done this before. So peak in Doge prices, trough in Doge price. There's almost exactly that 1 year window. And what's really freaky is keep this image in the back of your mind. That peak, that peak, that peak, and then ultimately the bottom. So this was 1 year and 1 month. Isn't that weird? 1 year and 1 month. So if we follow the same logic, there's the peak. There are those funny highs. Remember I showed you the funny highs here? And actually, I don't know, maybe I put this in the lounge. I don't know whether I tweeted it out. But anyway, there's those funny highs. And here we're coming down. It's interesting. We have a rule on the website. Can't take a trade unless I get a W on the other side. I have to get a W over here if I'm bullish. Can't take it if it's over here. It's got to be on the other side of this trend line. And notice, and if you don't know this, like this is what I think Nick was kind of referring to earlier, is if you're brand new to this, you just got to hear Brian say this 537,962 times. And then the 5,972 and 65th time you go, now I get it. Am I right, Nick?
Yeah, like honestly, 100% that. Like it might not take quite that many times, but it'll take a certain number of times, and then it just starts to click.
Yeah, so you can see here busting out through the trend line. Oh, it's a bull. Psych. Fuckers. So there's just no W's are coming in over here. It's so frustrating, eh? And I don't like this as a W because if we change this to a line chart, notice Mr. W all of a sudden just disappears. Poof, gone. So, it's interesting that this thing has rallied straight up over this period. That's 11 cents. That's 17. So he couldn't even have quite gotten a double off of that. It almost looks to me like what's happening here is this kind of looks like a head and shoulders. Mind you, that's a bit cockeyed, but I think David still likes shoulders. Necklines that are cockeyed a bit. But that kind of looks like a head and shoulders. So what this means to me, since we're on the other side of the trend line, since we know that that's that 1 year and 1 month deadline, I don't see any reason why we can't do something like that. So be forewarned. And I just thought it was interesting because dog money was sort of all of the rage at the top of the market almost exactly 1 year ago. And isn't it remarkable how much the world has changed in 1 year? I mean, everybody thought we were all going to get fucking stinking rich with crypto a year ago, right? Isn't that incredible? And it's been anything but that, which is just fascinating. I always like to ask, I'll get just 1 or 2 chances before he's done with us. So I actually asked somebody yesterday and they couldn't answer me the question. So I love to ask Nick this. So how's our buddy Danny doing these days? Is he out of the penalty box yet?
I haven't heard many people talk about him at all. So I think maybe.
Okay, that's good.
Both of his main coins, Spell and Ice, they have pulled off doubles in the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. They're kind of retracing now afterwards, but I mean they're still way down from the top. But I haven't heard many bad things lately.
That's good. Now maybe we might hear something good. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, I think he once kind of everything went down and everyone was upset at him. He took a back seat, and he's just, I think, helping the teams build. And I mean, I don't think he's doing any of the developing, but he's just helping the team however he can and just staying out of the limelight, which I think is a smart choice.
Yeah, and that's what's got to sort of happen is you just got to sort of I guess he's just got to put his nose to the grindstone. And, why was it that he became so popular? Why was it that things went so well? Well, I think originally because he built some half-decent products, right?
Yeah, I still think they're really good.
Yeah, so we just got to get back to just doing what God's gift was and quit with the whole fucking gold-plated steaks and all that kind of not. Mind you, that wasn't him, was it?
Yeah, that was Da Vinci, but...
And what was interesting was, and it's just a total aside, but now that I have you here, and maybe Ben, if you want to chime in, you can answer too. I did notice that Bitcoin Cash was pretty high on our list here. Are you guys hear much out of Roger Ver these days?
I don't.
No. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I wonder what he's doing these days.
The one thing I do get a little worried at, though, is a lot of those coins I would not necessarily think are very high quality. Some of them are. But you're saying about what always rises last.
The shit always rises up. Well, there's Derek's Theta. So.
Yeah, and like I said, there are some coins on here that do have good fundamentals, like Filecoin and Yearn and
Adam, he's super excited about Filecoin here.
Yeah, I think Joshua is too.
Josh, it's not a bad. I mean, you can see it's still got quite a bit of work to do before it turns, but great to see that volume impetus. If anything, smart money is coming back in and actually buying this thing back against the original breakout lows. So that is one where nanny nibble kind of strategy, not a terrible idea. Is it an outright buy yet? No, I don't think so. And I think a lot of the crypto market is like that. So, and actually that's interesting. So some of these names you would say are a bit suspect on sort of value wise, eh?
I would, and it's either bad fundamentals or I count them as like dinosaur coins that might have been really popular last cycle, like the 2017 cycle, and they may or may not have done too much innovating since then.
Bitcoin SV, isn't that what's his face? What's that guy's name? God, I can't even remember. He was the guy with the British accent.
So Craig Wright?
Craig Wright, yeah. Isn't that him?
Yeah.
So isn't that interesting? Two derivative names are right up at the top of the list. That's fascinating. Anyway. Uniswap, isn't that in the whole DeFi space and stuff?
It is. That's the main decentralized exchange on Ethereum.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, something like that, you can see the fast-moving average completely rejected price here in the short term. It's probably just not quite ready yet. But cheap? Well, it's getting down to the bottom end of the range. It's interesting how it did kind of like a Benkoff check there of the original candle's high there and was rejected away from there. All right. Well, anyway, so that's interesting how some of these you're just not overly impressed with. What do you think about this NEM story? Is it a dog?
I don't know too terribly much about the fundamentals with that one.
All right. So, Ben, you have any comment on this thing?
Yeah, not that specifically. I mean, that list that you see, what I would say is that it seems to me that a lot of them seem to be ones that didn't really enjoy the benefits of the rally from like October to December, January kind of thing, which was more of like the DeFi coins that hit new highs around there. So I don't know what that means. Like, are they, like Nick says, are they dinosaur coins that, kind of are missing out on what's coming next? So,
all right,
just an observation.
Yeah. All right. I suppose we ought to get on to what I'm supposed to be talking to you guys about here today. We missed last week, didn't we? So I don't know whether we want to do our grand predictions or not, but I suppose 2 weeks absence, actually, maybe I did okay here with my -1 vote. Nick, you had a -1 vote, is that correct?
Yeah, I think this was from 2 weeks ago, even though it was in last week's slot.
All
But
right.
yeah, that was from 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
All right. You know what I have to do, and I know it sounds kind of cheeky, is I have to go and check. I'll be right back. I know it sounds kind of cheeky. If you two want to, what's a conversation that you two can talk about? I'll just throw on the screen here because I got to go and check something, and I'll be right back. I know it sounds terrible.
So Ben, give me your thoughts on how Australian accents are different than British accents.
Okay, cool. And I'll be right back.
Oh man, I mean, I would say it depends on where you are in Britain, right? So some parts of like London, they sound pretty similar. But yeah, just don't ever call a British person an Australian. It's okay to call them Australian British. We'll take it all right. But yeah.
Really, I didn't know there was that was that much of an insult.
Well, probably not. I say in jest. Yeah. I never call an American a Canadian. Oh, no. Never call a Canadian an American. That's right.
So next question, are you coming back to level 2?
Yeah, absolutely. I just had some things going on in my life. Things got really hectic and busy with work, so and there's a lot to digest, right, in that level 1. And so figuring out like how do I get good at using a trading plan? What is my plan? And all that kind of stuff. Just trying to work that out and get that down before I just move on and start taking on more information and just get overloaded. So I think I might be ready to jump into the next semester and take it on, but it should be fun.
Yeah, level 2 and level 3 have a ton of really fun candy to learn about.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of rabbit holes you can probably go down there, right?
Yeah, and the best part is you might find like 2 things you like in level 2, and you can just, after class, you can pretty much throw the rest away if they don't resonate with you, and just take those couple things that you really love and incorporate them into your plan, and you're good to go.
Right.
All right. So what was the big conclusion?
Don't call a British person Australian.
Yeah. I could understand that. Because technically, wasn't Australia the penal colony? So, unfortunately, I suppose it'd be interesting to call a British person a Canadian person British. I mean, it just doesn't fly at all, eh? Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to work here. First things first, did we want to do something on the prediction front?
Yeah, let's do it. I got 2 more of these left.
All
I
right.
might be able to get 1 correct out of a year and a half or so, or a year.
Well, did you? Were we correct here, or are we going to say that was it the 11?
I think we did that when it was 42,000 and went up to 47,000. But we'll just say we're correct. Yes.
Oh, okay. And our vote now, unfortunately, I have to stick with my -1. I mean, I don't want to go -2 because I don't want to freak people out. But I definitely am leaning to the downside now. No doubt about that. So that makes that pretty easy for me. What do you think, Nick? What vote do you want to give here? I think you're next on the list, right?
Yeah, I'm second.
Yeah, there you are. So what do
You
we
know
wanna
what? I'm gonna go with a 0. I haven't said a 0 in a very long time.
do? Yeah, since back
December.
Interesting. Yeah. And ironically enough, actually, oh no, I guess as of last week it would have been a 0 if you had said quarter on quarter. But,
Yeah.
All right, and then Monsieur Ben, what do you think your vote will be?
I think I'm going to go with a -1.
You've been bullish a while, eh?
Yeah, I think that was 2 weeks ago. That was just a
All right.
bit of a temporary bullish, but yeah, I'm back thinking it'll go down also.
All right, so what kind of vote do you want to have?
I'll do a -1.
-1.
Yeah.
All right. Whoops, isn't that interesting? The minus didn't work there. Karma doesn't want to put in a -1 there. All right, so there you go. There's our... oh, isn't that weird? Okay, I'm doing something wrong there. Fill color? Anyway, maybe you guys can help me there. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing wrong there. Okay, and then Chris actually had a 0 vote. If we were up 11 and down 9, would Chris technically be right? What would that be? That would be like up 2, right? Oh, it's pretty close.
Apparently Shark Toshi is taking that one this week. He says -1.
Sharky, you're gonna be in here? All right. We'll do Shark Toshi -1. Oh boy. Take off, eh? Remember, I used to live in LA, and actually Shark Toshi lives down in LA, and it was so cool. I called him up the other day, and I was talking on the phone, and he talks like such a Southern California. It's so awesome. So, but when I was a kid there, I used to live there, and yeah, that's the only. Do you guys know the reference? Take off, eh? You hoser? Does that sound at all familiar to either of you two? No? Crickets?
Wait.
Not to me.
Was that like one of the old like Martin Short movies or something?
Close. Yeah, close.
Where is
Actually,
it
it was
from?
the guy who was in the, oh, I don't want to give him his name.
Oh, Rick Moranis.
Yeah, you knew who I was talking
Yeah.
about. The Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was one of the characters. And, God, who was the guy that he did it with? I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, they were called Bob and Doug McKenzie. Take off your hoser. Anyway, so that's what that line's from. All right, so Shark Toshi, welcome aboard. And actually, maybe Shark Toshi is going to be a new panelist. Who knows?
And it's not just you. I cannot make that sell. I cannot make Ben sell orange. I don't know.
No.
It's just not working.
I don't know what you did, Ben. They don't. I tried to put the -1 and my keyboard wouldn't let it go in there. So clearly, Spirit doesn't want you to give up your bullish enthusiasm. Hey, there it is. Now it's orange. All right, way to go. Okay, so do we want to do more of these rapid fire thing? Try and get through them. Do we want to take requests from the chat? What do you think's the plan here for the rest of tonight?
So, my thoughts are that we were doing the rapid fire because things were looking bullish. They were starting to turn around. We wanted to see if there were some setups we could jump in on. I wonder if that time has passed. Maybe we can just look at some chat requests.
Yeah, sure. 61 half dozen. Yeah, however we want to. However we want to do this. Don't think I get any. No, I don't get anything there. So YouTube. Let's see how you guys are doing over there. 10-0 wants. Is that a coin? LIST? Remember LISK? Lisk? You don't hear people talk about Lisk anymore. Like you said, a lot of the dinosaur names, they just never came back this cycle, eh?
I think Tanjiro was saying we should go back to the list.
Oh.
That would be my guess. Because at least I don't know of a coin name list. There could be one out there.
Somebody wants BLOK. The problem here is if they're brand new, then I can't really comment too much on them. BLOK. Looks like is this a DeFi name? It's over on KuCoin. It's over on OKX. And then there's all these quick swaps and stuff.
Yeah, so QuickSwap is like the Uniswap of Polygon. So it's over on the Polygon network probably.
Wow. Is it worth taking a look at some? Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, so these are funny ones. In that you don't really know what the hell value is, and technically speaking, all you're doing right now is you're just coming in and bottom fishing. I might argue that it looks like there was a cute little turn here, and kind of like what Nick was saying there earlier. Remember, middle of March there, we started to get some really bullish indications, and the whole damn market just jumped up.
I am going to interrupt you. Let's look at it at KuCoin. They have a lot more history. Well, not a lot, but they have more than that.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, at least. Oh, okay. So you got at least from the start. So, I mean, we can do a couple foggies here just to sort of give us indications of where downside objectives are. 2.618 and 4669 is the lows. Unfortunately, I would say that probably the odds are we got to come down into here. What I'm worried about with a name like this is a perfectly susceptible name where it just comes along and it just swims down here, and it takes a while for it to turn back up. And one thing you can do to try and see how long this is, because keep in mind all these bottoms are going to look like saucers. So we can start our study like here, there, something like that, so you can see sort of kind of idea. So, and then if we look at things like indicators, we have a bit of volume. I mean, it's not bad. You'd want to see, to just keep reassuring yourself that this thing is moving higher and higher and higher, you want to see follow through volume buying. It looks like there was a big pump here, big breakout, and then the next day, almost just as much selling up in here. So there was like a 2-day pump, right? Because this thing opened up here and probably spent a good chunk of the day up here higher, and people are like, oh yeah, bull market, we're all going to get rich. And then all of a sudden, everything started to fall apart. So, and the interesting thing too is you can look at this chart, and the good part about this is you can pretty much determine almost exactly when the next buy signal comes in. It's actually exactly like that Doge. There's the trendline break. I'd really like to get a nice good looking W over here, right? Get the breakout, then give us a nice W to work with, and away we go. Since we kind of went straight up off of that trendline break, very first thing I would be thinking is good old reload zones. So you could come back and really be hunting, especially against that low. Notice this tail here. That's probably a bunch of unfinished business right down in there. So you want to mark on your charts. I'm going to start paying attention in earnest right around, 1.5 cents. And what is that? That's 1.5 to 1.6. Came down to hit Mountain Man. Mountain, is good trade level for like volatile commodities. Sometimes you get a nice bounce off of them, but venture cap, I've noticed that Mountain Man kind of goes, meh, maybe I'll bottom here. Especially if you're like buy and hold type person. Odds are Mountain Man's not going to be your bottom. Usually we have to come right back down against these lows. Interesting, put it on a nice little trend channel there. You saw how I did that, go boom, boom, then drag it back against the most recent highs. Could probably also do it against that high. Which, in a weird sort of way, if you did that, boom, boom, it was coming off of here, it broke the trend line. You draw this channel, and you can see why the market stopped right at that level. That was a dangerous place to buy. You really should not have bought there. Unfortunately, probably most people that do buy these things, they don't look at price charts, so they wouldn't know that that was a really bad area to be a buyer. In fact, you probably could make the argument that, this, in fact, isn't that interesting? You often hear me say that I love to short 78.6 and buy 78.6 fibs. Look at that, eh? So I actually would have thought, to be honest with you, it would have gotten up into these candle body highs, because this is usually an awesome trade location right against those candle body highs there. But these guys right in here, these little, because keep in mind this one opened up. There are a ton of trap bulls all up here, then puked out. Then they tried a counter trend rally, so there was some trap bulls up in here. Then just puked out. So we got into that level right there on that candle body. There's probably even a little bit of a gap right there too, I bet. Oh no, actually it looks pretty clean. That's not bad. So, I mean, what do you say about an asset like this? Number one, you're not chasing, so that's good. I hate, we made reference to people earlier that were sort of saying, it's perfectly fine to buy assets that are doing this. I don't like that. I think you're asking for trouble. It's kind of like, somebody came to me and said, hey, Brian, do you think I can buy that near? And I'd have to go, no, I can't buy that. In fact, actually, that's an empire top. I'm going to short that. It's just too far away. So, what are the positives? Let's just try and keep this positive. What are the positives? You're not coming in and buying a blow-off top, so that's good. Any idea, guys, on the Blocktopia? That sounds familiar. Is this the thing that they're trying to index all of the cryptos? Is that this thing?
I think it's a metaverse.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe then we should maybe not do mana, and we should go to these guys and see if we can set up a booth there.
I mean, you see the price chart. If that has anything to do with adoption levels, maybe not. I will say, looking at the website, the graphics look a lot better than Mana. But
really, they actually a better graphical interface.
I mean, the graphics on Mana look like you're playing a PlayStation 1 from the late 90s. But
yeah. All right. Anyway, so I can't fault you. You're not chasing, so that's good. You want a dollar cost average your way into here. Nanny Nibbles, little old lady planting flowers, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't mind that. Probably a good reference point going forward is, what is that? About 10 cents a coin, token, whatever the hell you want to call these things. I got a funny feeling, though, this is going to take a while to turn back up. Using our weekly commodity trend survey kind of thinking, I would not actually label this a quote-unquote buy. Let's see. We don't need that. 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 I think it's actually one of these. But anyway. Yeah. I would not label this a buy until, where's the other moving average? Oh, maybe we don't even have enough data to get a 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 28, yeah, so we don't even have enough data to do that study yet. So this is your 13 EMA. Weekly basis, if this thing can come back down against the bottom and then turn back up through that high, I think you're off to the races. Just even using that relationship on the daily chart, you can see the trend turned down here. And even on the daily chart, you can see it just barely turned back up here. So just imagine what a weekly chart. It's a pretty good tool. So if you're a big fan of moving averages, you can see how that we got a bullish cross through this event right here. And that's a nice inverted head and shoulders. There probably was a half decent trade, through there by that breakout. And what is that? That's 0.016. And look at that, got basically almost exactly to double and then backed off. So anybody who snuck in just below, especially down in here at 1.5, I guess 1.4 would have been the ideal level because it got up to 29 there, 29.4. So that means what? I guess that's about 14.7. I guess 14.7. So that to me says this was probably a manufactured trade. I mean, the killer trade and the guys that I think made that double, that was these guys. Boom, right down in here. Yeah, 78.6145. So the guys that bought that 78.6 retrace level there, they were the ones that just got the double off. That means to me, this is like pro sniper trading. Very, very difficult. The noobs, gonna be tough. And, the reason why I say that is because the trend is down. So this is all like sniper mode. We're in a bear market. It's just the pros, like the... God, I can't even think of any names now that are relevant. It used to be like in times gone by. Interesting how this 78.6 reload zone off of this range, and look at this 78. Oh, actually, that's 88.6, isn't it? All right, so there's a reload zone there. Yeah. Okay, so I don't mind coming in down here somewhere around sort of like 15. I don't mind that. What I would suggest you do if you are interested in this name, and it does look like they took it to a new low here, which kind of sucks. But, yeah, just barely, eh? So they're probably going to have to test this down here. I guess the way I would look at something like this, do your due diligence. Do you want to be long? Why do you want to be long? What's the value? How many coins are out? Any sort of fat cats long from certain levels? Blah, blah, blah. But what I'd like to see is we're coming down into half-decent location now. Can we please get a nice bottom? Because of the decennial stuff, I might be thinking, if anything, maybe just be patient and let maybe something like that develop over there. Maybe it's like Mountain Man, rally back, then down here, then up, then down like that. All right. I definitely think the bottom comes in here sometime in that June period. They always say, sell in man, walk away. Remember I showed you that Doge. I think it follows the same thing. How long does it take for the breadth indicator to turn around? Remember, and this is why I think going forward, anybody who really fancies himself a trader, this is now going to become like, it should become, it'll be a question of whether Brian fucks this up or not. But this should become industry standard in that anybody who's trading shit coins or, crypto or anything for that matter, you see how long this took to bottom last go around. Right. And actually, I think we can look back in time with hitting this back button here. So you can see market bottom there in January, at the beginning of January, then went through its bottoming process, test of the lows, and then we started to lift away into early February. Yeah, oh darn, we're missing that. So we're missing the month of February. Seward, what do we do here? Oh, okay, there's a little bit of February. So you can see this rally window lasted maybe about 2 or 3 weeks. Then, we topped out sort of beginning of February. How long does it take for the market to work its way back down? That was almost about a full month. So, it looks like we topped out the end of March. Does that mean that we need to basically take the full month of April to wash this out? And then just kind of like what we showed with Doge, is that bottom come in somewhere mid-May, somewhere in there? That would make perfect sense to me. Do they drag this on into June? Could be. But I think that's more macro. I think probably May, June, we're going to start looking like this, where there's going to be some back and forth and some small rallies to get the thing going. So, with that kind of backdrop, like just looking at that image, obviously that's not crazy overly bullish. So you look at something like this, what a surprise. Do you really need to push here? Now, like I said, if you like the story, if you believe in the fundamentals, hell, if you want to go and buy this thing to go get your land in this place, it looks cheap. I don't know what the price action before this is, so maybe that might also affect our thinking. But relatively speaking, I could see this thing work its way up. I suppose what would be a really good comparison would be to just say, what does that mana look like? Yeah, so if anything, maybe what's happening here is people are selling off their manas to buy into that other one. I don't know, maybe. As I said to you earlier, I would like this to come back down into these areas to actually go and do our shopping for the land. I'm not going to chase. And probably through that May-June window, I think we probably come back down into here. So, there might even be like a metaverse index. That would be kind of cool, eh? We put together like a list of 5 or 6 of these things, and sort of get an idea of what that whole sort of space is looking like, what direction it's going, what's the trend. I do find it a little disappointing that I turned on the TV the other day and Snoop Doggy Dogg was hosting like teen achievement awards. Has this guy like gone full hoe? I mean, I can't believe it. I'm shocked. Like, this guy is a gangbanger and he used to murder people. And now, here comes Nick.
I was going to say, I don't know if I'm necessarily qualified to even understand fully the question you asked.
Am I?
He has become very, very mainstream over the last couple decades. He's like, I don't know, known for like coaching all his kids, like football leagues and all this other stuff. He's definitely toned down a lot of stuff since, I don't know, the 90s.
I guess, eh? So, I don't know what's happened with his involvement with Doge and all that, but I do find it interesting how that guy's story has evolved over time. I mean, that guy was a hardcore fucking gangbanger. So, man, how this world changes, eh? It's so bizarre. You can't write better fiction than reality. And him, of all the people to survive, why him? Because a lot of his compatriots, they didn't make it, eh? Like Tupac and all those guys, you know? It's fascinating. Anyway, so, do you guys hear any much about the NFTs and all that kind of stuff? Is that still pretty hot, or is it cooling down?
It definitely had a trough very recently. Things are still down, I would say. There are a couple collections that are doing really, really well right now. As a whole, I imagine it's still kind of in its downswing.
All right. Well, maybe this is... I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, it's something that cycles back and forth just like everything else.
Yeah. What it worries me about this stuff, though, is that there's no intrinsic value to any of this. And it's fascinating how I don't even know who they are, but somebody is really trying to undermine POW here, right? Do you guys get that impression? Just feels like somebody's got like a major hard-on to try and knock POW down. And, I mean, the irony of it all is that there's a lot of times when crypto actually, the demand for electricity balances out the network. So I actually think having that consistent demand from POW sort of crypto stories, I think is actually healthy. It keeps sort of, like Texas, one of the major problems is that the spikes in demand just go all over the place, eh? So I like the idea that POWs just makes consistent demand for power. And then also, too, Sjord showed us this situation, ironically enough, where there's sometimes when the demand for electricity is really, really low. So you could technically sort of download the electricity when the prices are really low and store it in batteries. And then when the demand for electricity is really high, you could actually sell it back to the system. But anyway, that's here nor there. Anyway, I just, the only reason why I asked is, would this be into that sort of NFT kind of space? Is that the same sort of conversation?
Yeah. It bills itself as a metaverse, but it also had on their page that they're selling revenue generating NFTs, whatever that means.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so, I mean, there's not really a hell of a lot more I can add to this conversation other than, it looks like, if you can force yourself to come in and accumulate at the bottom end of the range, cool. But understand, especially in these venture cap names, we could be like right here, and there's one more swoon lower. And you're just like, oh man, when is this torture gonna end? It will end when it ends. And I would make the argument, you want to keep it really, really simple? When the 13 EMA crosses the 30 SMA on the weekly charts, then you know that the bear slide is done for now, which is not present right now. Because ironically enough, we can't even get a weekly 30 SMA on something like this yet. So, bottoming, relatively cheap, maybe. I'm worried that this 4669 is floating out here, and you might find that it actually has to go and test that low there before it ultimately finishes its correction. The good part about it, too, is seasonally, this is the time of year for this shit to bottom. So getting ready for the summer silly season, there's probably a bottom somewhere in here. All right, I think we probably beat that one into the ground. I mean, it's not a terrible idea. It's kind of like the whole market, right? A month or so ago, we had an incredible little buying window. Market jumped up. That window closed. And now, if anything, we're consolidating. That's probably the way I would put it. So. All right, what do we want to do next? Pro, a.k.a. Proppy, is used by the real estate industry. Oh, okay. They just did an NFT on a home. There you go. So now your home, you can NFT your home there. Actually, both of you got new homes, eh? Yeah, Jesus. So both.
And soon.
Oh, well, they must be at the point where they're putting in like the finishing touches, eh? I mean, you must be getting close.
Yeah. Before I went on those 2 trips, they had like all of the carpentry done, cabinets, most of the flooring minus the carpet, like all the hardwood and tile and stuff. So it was getting pretty close.
Yeah.
We'll go see it again this weekend, but never closer.
Right. And Ben, of course, you're going to NFT your little girl, right? So how much is she going for these days?
Is that just like a rental? Like
I said, the worst part about it
freaks me out. That's the world she's gonna grow up in, though. It's
it's coming. It's coming. There's gonna be some fucking. Oh god, I'm gonna get myself into trouble for that. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. I'll just stop myself now. But I wouldn't be surprised if humans are NFT'd down the road, and if you want the company of a lady in the evening, all you do is just rent the NFT. And everything's done on the blockchain.
Like investing in sports stars, I think that was floated around, like getting young college people, like you invest in them early and you kind of have a stake in their future career.
Funny thing is I don't know whether you've noticed, but man, most kids that go to college sports and stuff, they don't make it to the big leagues. What's really weird is, like, if you look at, like, the NFL or something, the guys who actually make it to the big leagues, they often come out of the smallest schools and really odd schools stuff. But I don't know. Maybe. Anyway. Yeah, all right. I don't know. I don't really like the sound of that. That sounds to me like the American capitalist machine is going to love that. The only problem is Nike comes and sponsors you kind of thing. And then you say the wrong thing to something, and then they just go and drop you like a hot potato. You'd hate to see what lives are going to become like. And also, too, if that NFT stuff happens, then people are going to be placing short bets and leveraged long bets on people. And then, Bobby, who is an up-and-coming track star, accidentally slipped on a banana. And, oh, no, his NFT price collapsed. I can just see it now. Anyway. Okay, so what anybody else have a request over there on the YouTube?
Next on the list was ETH BTC.
Ethereum?
Ethereum BTC, so priced in Bitcoin. Which this is usually, a lot of people look at this chart to see, like, should we be looking at alts more? Should we be looking at Bitcoin more?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully everybody can see. This is a pretty darn sick level there. You know, you often hear, Brian, candle body lows for trade location. Do you buy that stab? You might have looked at that and went, oh, went to new lows. I got to let a W come in. And all of a sudden, boom, there comes a W. So, looks to me, and I don't know whether you can use the term value or not, but it looks to me like there's some sort of pivot there. See what we got here. So this rising means that Ethereum is getting more valuable relative to Bitcoin. Do I understand that correctly?
That is correct.
So if we look at it, like, say, on a weekly basis, just to get sort of an overall view, looks to me like everybody should look at this and go, holy bejesus. You know, when we were talking about that last coin, and I was like, well, we got to wait for a bottom to come in. We got to wait for a bottom. Well, that's what a bottom looks like, right? And there's also this cute little fast bottom in there, although that was kind of maybe a little too fast. There's a nice little bottom down in there. Actually, it'd be interesting to put on the moving averages there. And then weekly, I think that's right. 13, 30. I think that's the only thing I have on there. So notice how these moving averages turn back bullish right there. Eh?
Pretty much right on that W breakout.
Yeah. And then you can see, I think they've been bullish. Well, yeah. Well, there was one little pause right there. Wow, this feels like deja vu. Huh. Anyway, there's your double bottom, weekly basis, beautiful. Then, you know, this is probably a really good analogy of, you know, we're not going to chase. We're going to work reload zone bids. And you can see how that just came right down into that reload zone there. And even did another double bottom. So lots of bullishness through here. What is that? That's 0.02. So I should let half of it go up in sort of this 4 area, 4, 4, 5, probably that rally there. This bottom here probably defines all sort of the upside objectives as we go through time. So if we go, boom, there you go. So I think is that the lowest though? Oh, maybe that's the lowest though. All right. So does it make sense why we're stalling out in this area here? Yeah, I think so. Interesting how we rallied up into 2.618. Actually, this is a really good example. I was even talking in the site today about this. Notice how we rallied up to 2.618 here. Then we had to come right back and kiss the original breakout. That happens a lot. Then we accept back above 2.618. Next stop, 4.669. Then we have to come back down to 2.618. So you can actually see sort of the ebb and flow of chaos here. Chaos. Interestingly enough, the more I study the universe and the more that I study the market, the more I actually believe that chaos isn't actually chaos. If we just look at it like an observer seeing something for the first time, it looks chaotic. But actually, there's quite a bit of predictability to this. So, 4669, notice, what is that number? I mean, roughly, here, let's put the numbers on here. And, man, I had a stock. I had fucking Luna. Oh, Jesus. Did you guys see in Luna today? There's like 4 different foggies, and the goddamn thing gets stopped at like a fucking... drive me nuts. Right below my sell order.
This looks like the exact opposite. This thing looks like it almost pipped the 4669 level.
Yeah, well, this one, no, because like the Luna...
Well, the Luna you didn't. Well, it still got to the 4669. It's just your sell was right above it.
Yeah, it was above. And if anything, what a great lesson. Don't fight fucking foggy. Whoa, try saying that 10 times fast. Don't fight fucking foggy. Anyway. All right, so 0453. And our high here was 046. So doink, rejection. What a surprise. So we cleaned up after the retest of the 2.618. That's what this is. And went ramping up, and sure enough, doink, right into an 877. And more chaos. And ironically enough, I still think it's fighting at this 877. Probably also, too, we could draw some fibs going up the other way and just get an idea of where fib resistance would come in. So let's do them all. There you go. Remember we showed you earlier on with the shit coins and that 50% rule. Damn it, that's just ridiculous how that happens, eh? So this is why, one of the very first lessons I ever learned in technical analysis was use the 50% rule as your target. It keeps you honest. And if you bought off a year and you used the 50% rule as your target, you'd be like, fuck cha fucking ching. What is that just on first blush? It's just a nice simple 7.5 to 1 risk reward. I'm a badass trader. Look at me. That's how you buy Lambos in this world, folks. If you can get good at that shit. So the fact that we've hit the 50% rule actually sort of leads me to think that, maybe you should just be a bit cautious here. Be interesting too to see if that was 50% of the time that the down move happened. There. I don't know where the bottom is. Well, let's go there. 116 bars. That's pretty quick. But anyway, 88 bars. Somewhere in that area. Actually, look at that. It took almost exactly the same time. Not interesting. Sure, Mr. Gain would have something to say about that. Anyway, what I would think now is, and actually probably does the same thing now, where it goes 116 bars to go the other direction now. Like there, back to there, and 50%. It's right there. So I would almost be thinking, just because this funny relationship here, that maybe we have to be back here by February 2024. I could see that. I could see it sort of work its way down, then come back up, and then do something like that, and be ready to go. In fact, what chart does that look like? If we play out like this, what chart would that look like? How about the Bitcoin chart from the peak? All right, almost looks identical. So we're sort of like right here. And this is our future in this Bitcoin ETH proxy. Can you see that? I think we got to go through this right now. And notice, it'd be interesting to do a date off of this. Mind you, this was exactly 50%. So that's kind of weird how that was 116 bars, but let's see. So if we do another 52 from here, what do we get? Yeah. And then we go here. So, yeah, that's about right. See how there's 50% rule? So another year later, and there we are, right at that level. So my hunch is, and you guys are like, oh, I want to get fucking rich. What are you talking about, loser? I think that's actually your future. So I don't know whether you can do much with that.
The one counterpoint I will make to that is I still think there's a good chance we get a rally into ETH 2.0 launching.
Yeah, but this has nothing to do with that.
It does.
This is relative to Bitcoin. How do you know Bitcoin doesn't rally as well?
I mean, that's fine, but if ETH rallies and we go from 0.07 to 0.02 there, like you got on there, that means Bitcoin is going up 3.5 times as much as ETH is.
Yeah, but this is the middle of 2024, right? And I don't know whether we come all the way back here. The Bitcoin chart, all it did was it retraced 88.6, right? Remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember Kevin's killer trade there 2 years ago?
I will never forget that trade.
Oh, okay, cool. So that, oh, look at that. So there's Kevin's killer trade right there. So, and I agree with you. And when is that event? Isn't that coming up here pretty soon?
It should be
Right
in a couple
here.
months. I'm thinking it should be around June. But,
Yeah, well, there's June, right? June 20th, June 5th, all the way out to August. But, let's even just put this sort of like boom in June right there. So, interesting enough, when it looking at it, price action in June, I actually, maybe this is too big of a zoomed out view. I mean, I hate to say it. What did that just tell us right there? This is a weekly price chart. Is that a bullish sign or a bearish sign, Ben?
It's a bearish cross.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot there. That's what I do. I mean, you got a little bit of the tide fighting against you there already. But June, somewhere like right in here, right? So, just first blush, and you guys should be able to answer this. What's the level that I want to be watching for to see if this is even still an uptrend move?
A 38.2.
All right, so that is there. And calling pump chaser zone. Really, we could go 38.2 all the way down. We should expect a 50% retracement of this range anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if this plays out, and when we're here, lo and behold, we're still flirting with that level. But just in the short term, that's there. I'd also say, too, what does this kind of look like up here? I don't know whether you guys can see this. If I go something like there, and then there, and then maybe there, what are we kind of thinking?
Crying.
Well, I mean,
it's a potential head and shoulders.
Yeah. It's kind of a steep neckline, so I don't think that this is actually completed. What I would expect is actually something like that. So what that means is, maybe we have to come down, then go up, then come down. So in your little rally window, we've come down over the next, I'll tell you, you look at the breadth, you look at the stock market, you look at what Vladdy's doing, you look at how the Fed is getting aggressive about wanting to raise short-term interest rates. Have I shown you guys before? What does Bitcoin usually do in the face of a rising short-term interest rate market? So here is 2017, and there. So there's 2017, December 2017, and there is October, November 2018. So this is where interest rates are cranking up. I mean, they're almost going parabolic here. The 2017 to 2018, the October 2018, really, I guess the market ultimately bottomed, right in that sort of January time period there. How did Bitcoin do through this?
Not fantastic.
That's a polite way of putting it. So, unfortunately, I mean, you can see how aggressive they are on raising rates. And this is the corporate interest rate market. I get the feeling we're sort of here. But, the ultimate end of that rising interest rate market where the rising rates really hurt the market, I think is coming, maybe, what did we say? Well, and that's the scary part about corn. Does this have to be like a 1 year anniversary? What's that high? December. Oh, interesting. So December 2022, right, would be sort of our bottom. Same sort of thing as that Doge kind of thinking. No, wait a minute. No, this is a different conversation. Sorry, forget that. Let's go over here.
I mean, that's still roughly when Bitcoin topped.
Yeah. There's our top.
It was in November. Yeah.
Yeah, so November 22, that's when I really like the idea of a bottom in the corn, and it just ugly washout.
I mean, that's essentially election day in the US.
Well, yeah. And actually that makes sense too, because I think what ends up happening is this is a sell the rumor and then buy the news. I wouldn't even be surprised if Biden even makes crypto and all that kind of shit and money laundering and wrapping himself in the flag, and the IRS has got to tax more of the rich and all that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually like really, really rampant rhetoric into that election. But anyway, if we go November, December 2022, that's in that area there. Goodness, that's sort of our window ahead of us, and like we said, that's so interest rates are not helping the situation. So I mean, you put it all together. Back to our story here. I think the way that I also like to look at this is you guys ever heard me talk about this study over here? This one? Where I compare the Russell 2000 to the Dow Jones Industrial Index. And this is actually a really good commentary on the speculative appetite of the market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I actually think ETH BTC is almost a crypto equivalent of this, or an analog of this.
I think it's a very similar story. So, in the stock market, and this is just a ratio. So, if this is heading up, then it means that the Russell 2000 is getting more valuable relative to the Dow. And if it's heading down, it means the Dow is getting more valuable relative to the Russell. And in essence, speculators, keep in mind venture cap stocks, they have a higher earnings potential if the economy is growing. If the economy is shrinking, then the junior stocks usually don't do very well. Recessions usually just destroy junior stocks. And oh, by the way, I'm hearing a lot of people saying that the odds of a U.S. recession here are very, very high. Which makes sense, right? How does the expression go? Recessions usually happen in years that end in 8 zeros, 1s and 2s. 8, 9, 0, 1s and 2s. So here we are in a 2. Technically, they say they say a recession technically is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. I'm not quite sure how the GDP growth is going to factor into this. I can definitely tell you, GDP growth in Europe is just going to be a fucking train wreck. GDP growth out of China, they fucking are shutting down one of the largest cities in the world where people literally are locked in their prison cells. That's not growth environment. It's actually really sad because I think what they're trying to do is cover up the fact that their real estate market is about to implode. And they're just going to blame it on COVID. But the irony of it all is they're locking these 50 million people down, and yet they can't find a single person who's actually died from this latest variant. What? So you can see how brutally corrupt all of this is. And this is, like I was joking with the guys earlier, it's awfully tough to stay positive when you know what's going on. You see how fucking corrupt all this is. Oh, by the way, at the peak of the last commodity cycle, did Russia, but they were under a different name then, did they happen to invade a country? I mean, do you guys know this? Do you know your history?
Yes, they did.
Okay, thank you. This is the end of the commodity cycle, which is actually just exactly what's supposed to happen. So let me ask you, at the end of the greed cycle, that's rah rah USA, did they invade any country?
I feel like if you don't know the answer to that one, you've been under a rock for a bit.
So the point being that at the end of these cycles, it shouldn't surprise any of you that, at the end of the growth cycle, the U.S. is going to be in trouble because they know they got like 20, 30 years of consolidation ahead of them. And it becomes this whole damn thing where they got to somehow steal money from Joe Sixpack to pay all the obligations of all the retiring class. And then on top of that, you got individuals like stealing $1 trillion out of the economy. One guy in the U.S. housing market crash was boasting about how he himself took $1 trillion out of the market. So nothing that's going on here is any big surprise. Nothing that's going on here is anything new. So back to our story here. In this kind of environment, and the Fed is not throwing money at the market, back in this environment, can you see this was, shouldn't we debate mortgaging our future? Shut the fuck up. We want all that money. Give us the money. Give us the fucking money. And sure enough, what does the economy do? It just took off like a rocket because it got a big fucking injection of free money. Now the banksters are going, no, you know what? We're going to start tightening the purses. So clearly, you should look at this image and go, well, it makes perfect sense. All right, so now back to our story over here. If we think that the broader economy is unwinding and we think that the Fed is tightening the free money and growth is a little bit in question, should we expect venture capital? Should we expect the smaller part of the market to outperform? I don't think so. So on top of the fact that we have a pretty nasty 2 or 3 month window ahead of us, I might argue that this thing right now is actually doing nothing more than just trying to consolidate this gain. It's a pretty big move, right? There's our 2020. Interestingly enough, the correction here, it didn't even make new lows. Shouldn't we debate mortgage in our future? Shut the fuck up! Get everybody piled into the venture cap market and into the fucking shitcoins. I don't know, maybe. But Rome, there it is. The shit, it did its job. It did exactly what it's supposed to do. Now, I'd say, we probably got to do some backfilling here. Probably also, too, this would be a really interesting study to look at how this acted. Yeah. So here's our peak in Bitcoin price that last cycle. Here. So it's interesting how on the Bitcoin peak, this thing actually was a shadow of its old highs. Right? There's the 2018 peak. And as Bitcoin had to go through its correction window, you can see, oh boy, this relationship got smoked. So, if anything, what I see here is I see a head and shoulders, which is a distribution pattern. I see that the market's come an awful long way in just a couple years. Could it take a year or so? We all know Mr. Benner and his 22, 23. Could we take a year or so and just clean this up? Well, I think so. That's probably not the message you want to hear. I'm sorry, guys. But if you're asking my opinion is the story's over. There's your buy. And if you want to throw in a bid, well, throw in a bid back down against the lows. And I don't know what story causes us to come back down to these levels, but that's the level I'd be hunting for. And in the near term, just to keep you honest, remember that oscillation kind of concept? I might argue that, we went a big downswing. We had to oscillate back to the upside. That's what this is. So now we've done that. We should now oscillate to the downside. That's what that is. Then, ironically enough, we'll probably do another oscillation to the upside. And so we go back up here. And then, at that point, then we can start going, all right, maybe this is a consolidation pattern. And if I start getting 3 higher lows, then actually I can start thinking about, well, this consolidation is done. It's getting ready for the next leg higher. But that's a ways away. I do also really like the idea. I'm really warming, especially if we look at that decennial report. I don't remember where I had that. Over here, eh? And then I can never remember how to get to the damn page. I do like Mr. Benner's thinking that 26 should be a rally peak window. And I like the idea that we trough 23, 22, 23, and then we rally up 24, 25. That's Belt and Road, right? China's like, oh, we want to build out our thing. Now, I get the impression that any kind of counter trend rally that you see over the next few years, it's going to be muted. We have the backdrop of war. The whole globalization movement is unwinding. So corporate profits are probably going to really take a back pause. Wouldn't be surprised if tax rates had to go up. So that's going to eat into sort of the let's buy stock kind of idea. So I think it's going to be a muted rally. But nonetheless, that's our rally window into that 26 peak. And I kind of like that. Like I said, Belt and Road, 24, 25. And of course, Bitcoin, its next halving cycle would be like sort of, well, not halving cycle, but if we think about like Bitcoin's rally peak there in 17, 18, we just had one here, 21, 22. So the next one should be 4 plus 21 is 25, right?
Yep, late 25, early 26.
Okay, so if anything, that lines up perfectly with Mr. Benner. So this is 25, and then, maybe it's like January of 2026, Bitcoin tops, and we work our way back down again. That wouldn't surprise me. So, it's an interesting conversation about this ETH versus BTC. I definitely could not buy that spread there. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Brian, he's a cheap ass. So what that means to me is if I did want to buy this relative to Bitcoin, the sad part about it is wicks and tails like to be eaten. You can kind of see these little tweezer tails here. Something looks very suspicious about those two lows right there. So it'll be interesting, Nick. Try and remember in a few years from now. Try and remember those two little tails, and let's talk about this again. So anyway, I don't know. Momentum? Oh, fuck me. I'm trying to build a bullish case here for you guys. I don't know, Ben. Can you tell me what the hell does this mean to us smart TRIers when you see this? Oh, Jesus. Is that bullish?
Divergence. Nah. It's making lower lows. Only lower highs.
Let's see what we got here. So oh, wait a minute. What's that one? 1825. Oh, that's negative. 253. Okay, so 2515. 229. Oh, Jesus. Yep, so that is a lower low. Look at our... Look at this RSI. Oh, Jesus. Is this fucking deja vu all over again? Wasn't there somebody a year or two ago that said, bearish divergence in RSI? It doesn't mean anything. And if I ask that question, obviously the answer is yes. So that's not overly optimistic. So these, we have a rule at TRI, and Ben, maybe you can help the audience. What is our rule? If you're a bull and you see this event happen here, what do you got to do?
Cool your jets.
Yeah. I'm trying to make the bull case here for you guys, but I just don't see any reason to be bullish here. Also, too, notice, look at the beautiful bottom in here. Look how OBV, and then here, look at this beautiful volume impetus signal. I mean, the bears just, you can see all the W's in here. The bulls just getting going. Hey, I'm rocking and rolling. All right, lots of volume. All right. Bears still saying, hey, we're still here. And still a bit of bullish volume. Don't see too much bearish volume, and then then everybody's just sort of backing away. Ugh. And now it looks like everybody's just falling asleep here. Not a good sign to see the market falling asleep if you're long from, say, down here. Hopefully, if you did buy this a couple years ago, you're taking some profits along the way and enjoying life. But there's just so many negatives on this chart. There's no way in hell I could buy this. I couldn't buy it. Sucks, but that's just the way it is. Hopefully, this thing just goes straight up from here and proves me wrong, and you all go, ha! See? You don't know nothing, man. I'd actually prefer that, because any of you guys that are rooting for this, you'll feel happy, and hopefully you won't go home and beat your wife. You can always beat Brian. Don't worry about that. But just don't beat your wife. I'm just being stupid now. I'm about 2 hours and 20 minutes in, so you can hear I'm starting to get a little dumb now, eh? So, I don't know, guys. Did you get any value out of that conversation tonight?
Always. I learned not to beat my wife.
You'd never do that.
Believe me, I had that one down already.
Oh, that's good. All right. Anyway, I was married to a redhead. If I tried to beat my wife, she'd just beat me back. Anyway, love you dearly. In fact, actually, I was even talking in an elevator about my wife today. God rest your soul, Jojo. I sure miss you. Anyway, it is 20 past the hour.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, I hope you felt like this was a good use of your time here, everybody. Do you see a lot of sort of regulars from the TRI community over there on YouTube? So I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation tonight. Thank you, OOWAAZII, if that is your real name. So we get you one more time next week. Is that what you're saying, Nick?
Yep, you get me next week.
Right, cool. So we'll look forward to that. As I said, if you are a site member, if you've done well, now we're into exam time, so hopefully you're concentrating on that. But if you would like to join our conversation here, like I said, Derek has politely bowed out. Nick's about to head out into the sunset. So if you are interested in hanging out with us on Wednesday evenings and talking crypto, feel free to PM me. Just let me know. And we might add you to the team. Thank you very much for your contribution, both gentlemen. I really appreciate you being a part of this experience. So thank you. Everybody, if you could, say a little prayer tonight that Liam is in good spirits tomorrow. It really helps. I know it sounds crazy, but every time I ask you guys to say a prayer for him, he seems to be in pretty good spirits the following day. So if you could do that for me, I'd appreciate it. And as we originally said, if you are interested, I guess we'll give you two shills. First thing I would say is if you want to learn how to build a small business of trading, hell, if you want to learn how to actually use half of the stuff that Josh is giving you for free here, trading plan, building your trading plan, the position calculators, learning how to log and learning how to journal and diarize and keep yourself on track. New school term does start up next month, I think the middle of May. So we'll be on a little bit of hiatus here. I suppose we'll do a bit of a shill program over the next month or so to encourage you to approach this professionally and get your butt educated. I get the impression from the boys, Ben, I haven't really heard from you much. You did take the level 1 program. Do you think the level 1 program sets you up with a good sort of basic knowledge base to approach the market?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been listening to you since like 2018. So on the YouTube, so I finally bit the bullet and went in, and I obviously had gleaned a lot of information over that time, but doing the education program was it just is really well packaged, and just kind of linked a lot of missing pieces that maybe I wasn't getting kind of
Cool.
through the YouTube videos, and kind of brought everything together, um, and plus a lot more, and it's just been really really valuable. So I'm
Awesome.
still chewing on it and absorbing it all. So it's good stuff.
Right on.
Yeah.
Excellent. Nick, now Nick, actually, Nick, did you get your vet badge? Nope, still haven't been
I
updated.
did.
Still,
I
oh,
did. I'm a
oh,
vet.
cool. I just noticed here in the lounge you posted, and it still says a level 3, or did you get your vet badge?
It does. For me, it says veteran.
Veteran, there it is. All right, so Nick's he is the man. There he is, Mr. Vet. Way to go. Super proud of you. And actually, I love actually just scrolling through and just seeing who is vets and who. I'm sure Fred's a vet. I'm surprised. Rocket Chat's been giving us a little bit of funniness lately, though. So anyway, the point that I would just make is it's great to have our OG sort of core filled out, and hopefully Nick actually becomes part of the team down the road. I always love that kind of stuff. So why don't we leave it at that? As I said, if you want to learn how to build a small business, learn how to run effectively a small business of trading, I think we do a pretty good job. So you'll probably be hearing that shill. And then, like I said, if you got any value out of the particular names that we talked about here tonight, or you want to try and help us get that decentral mana booth up and running, just so that these videos are running 24/7 in Decentraland, which I think is a great idea. You can contribute and help our cause with this ETH donation address. So I'll leave that up to you, obviously. So hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell, all that kind of fun stuff, which we do normally anyway. Thank you, gentlemen, for your participation. Actually, it's so cool. Every time I ask you guys, you give me something really cool to think about. So we'll start with Ben. Ben reminded everybody last week to check out the app. What was it? Actually, you gave somebody some. Well, you gave the. I can't even remember exactly. Was it a reference to the app, or was that a couple weeks? What was your words of wisdom last week? I can't even remember. Such a doofus.
I think last week was just to send you some PMA, some positive
Oh,
vibes
yeah, that's
the
right.
app.
All right,
Yeah, and then the week before was the app. And then also on the app, if anybody has anything that they want to see from the show, just maybe drop a message on the YouTube page and in the comments, and you can see about adding it. Or if there's a
Okay.
piece of information missing from the spreadsheet that you'd like to see in there, just let us know.
Okay, that's cool. Thanks, sir. Appreciate that. Well, we'll leave it at that. Ben's request is fire a comment in the comment section about how wonderful we all are in your lives, right? Something like that. Nick,
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. You want to add something to that?
No, I was just confirming that translation was correct.
Okay, cool. He's Australian, right? So we do have to translate this. All right, Nick, any closing thoughts for these good people?
I mean, with how the market is, I'd just say always keep your risk management under control.
Yeah,
Or always remember rule number 2:
yeah.
never risk more than 5%.
Never.
And it's okay to take a break. You don't always need to be trading all the time. You can come back when it's easy mode.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Yeah. All right. Excellent words of wisdom. Thank you, Mr. Veteran. Good, solid words of wisdom. Okay, why don't we leave it at that? Thank you so much, everybody. Great interaction with the chat room there this evening. Thank you for the best wishes for Liam. I appreciate it. And I guess we'll see everybody on the site, or we'll see everybody next Wednesday for some more crypto top 100 countdown stuff. All right. Have yourselves a good night, everybody. All the best. PMA for the win. And Nick, I don't think you've taken us out here for a while. The only thing left for Nick to say at this point is...
Bye for now.